are dark days ahead for classic and collectible car prices. We're going over our predictions from the last episode, and you might be looking at those results and going, heck yeah, we got real experts tonight. This is Bid Nerds. The bidding starts now. Bid Nerds is your YouTube card game show. And welcome to it, everybody. We are live in the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas with a brand new episode of Bid Nerds. My name is John Polnick. I'll be your host for the next hour, as well as my partner, Michael Deeb, way over on the far side of the screen there. How you doing, Michael Deeb, in San Francisco?
JP, I literally have just been playing the Who Do You Know game with Mike Musto from Hemmings Motor News. I know his name from a million different directions and didn't realize all the Mike Mustos I know are the same guy. And it wasn't like I invited him onto the show. It was the bid turn Lucas. So Lucas, thank you for bringing Mike Musto, my closest friend I never knew I had, all the way imported from Vallejo, California. I could hit a wood, and hit Mike Musto's house. Mike, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being our super sub and coming in last minute. How are you, my friend? What's going on?
I'm doing great, man, and thanks for having me. No, I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, what's going on is the same thing that I'm sure you guys are doing. We're just probably looking at a couple of hundred cars a day before you go to bed, figuring out what something is doing in the market and what you can actually fit in your garage at some point, right?
That is exactly right. That is exactly right. And my wallet, what my wallet can afford.
Yeah.
Holy moly. Yeah. I don't know which one I need a bigger shoehorn fit.
That's why live in a high rise and you only have a few spots, so it makes it a lot easier. Yeah. All right, guys, we if you are new to the show, welcome. What do we do here? We analyze listings on Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, sometimes Car Markets, and other sites as well. We analyze those listings, and then we get to the nitty gritty. We make predictions. We always start off every episode by looking at the predictions that we made on the last episode and seeing how we did. That's right, we hold ourselves accountable. How weird is that for the internet, Mike? Are you sure you want to hang out with this crew? It gets pretty grungy real quick. I just want to say, Dirty Gringo, fan of the show in the Nerd Herd. Welcome everybody.
Great handle,
in
by the way.
Herd.
Great handle.
He's like
Dirty Gringo.
He's asking, and he's been in the Nerd Herd forever. He's like, "What is a container park?" Well, there it is. That's the studio. We are a container park. It's like a shopping center in downtown Las Vegas made of old shipping containers, and that's where our studio is. But who cares? Nobody cares. We're here for the cars. Let's get to it. What was the first car on the list, Michael D? How dark are days ahead for the classic and collectible car market?
Yeah, JP's container, by the way, used to belong to Anand Khashoggi, and it still smells like gunpowder. But anyways, moving on. Our first car to reconcile is from Car Market, and we're going to circle back and take a second look at this stunning 1994 Porsche 964 Turbo S equipped with the X85 Flachbau package. This car is a unicorn, and we wondered aloud how well this car could perform on Car Market. The car itself is one of the most highly collectible sort of young-timer air-cooled turbo Porsches of all time. And our car has incredible provenance, having been sold not at all that long ago out of the white collection from Houston by RM Sotheby's, I think in December of 2023. And it gets better. Not only is it rare, not only has it got great provenance, but this car only has 51 miles from new. Essentially a true delivery mile car that makes JP and I want to punch small people because why in the hell did you not drive this unbelievable car? Stunning car, JP, incredible provenance, a good trail of history on the car. But now this owner, who we know overpaid for the car not at all that long ago, as I mentioned, in December of 2023 with RM Sotheby's, including the buyer's premium, this gentleman or lady paid $1,462,500 for a $1.1 million car. Now, JP, in a time frame that I would say is entirely too soon, he's bringing the car back to market and trying to get essentially all of his money out of it. And we wondered again if Car Market was the correct path for that endeavor. JP, none of us on our very well-curated panel agreed with that sentiment at all. Again, our friends at Classic.com tell us that the average selling price of a 94 911 Turbo S, a 964 Turbo S. This is not including the Flachbau. This is not including the odometer. Is a $951,000 conversation in the secondary market on average. This car with the provenance should hit between 1.1 and 1.2. Again, this particular car, though, had recently transacted for closer to 1.5. JP, I thought this car would come close to $1 million, but not get there. My bid, in line with Classic's average, but not the true value of the car. My bid, $950,000. JP, you were bearish on this one. You took the under at $896,400. Anthony Vieira, owner of Our Smith's Fine Swiss Repair, and our good friend, was in town in Las Vegas for AutoFest last weekend. He joined us in studio, and his bid way under JP's. He didn't think it would get another bid from where we were looking at it. At that time, the pot was $750,000, and he thought it would stall there. And then Buddha, everybody's dear, dear friend, the most lovable, most passionate, and one of the best drivers you'll ever get to know. Buddha joined us in studio as well. His bid, a little over Anthony's, at $775,000, implying that the car might get one more bid before Hammer. So, Mike Musto, welcome to the show. I promise we will reconcile the cars a lot quicker moving forward. But this one, there's a lot to unpack. What do you think of 964 turbos? What do you think this car might have hammered for just a few days ago on P-Car Market?
Man, so, you know what? So I look at everything from the dollar amount. Does it equate to the driving experience that it's going to get you, right? Now, obviously, this car has never been driven, so that doesn't mean a thing to whoever buys it, right? Whoever buys it is never going to drive the damn thing. They're just going to rub it with a diaper and stare at it for some reason and hope it makes money, right? But when you talk about a 99, yeah, you know, a Turbo S, they're great cars. They're still air-cooled. They're fun drivers. But if you're going to pay upwards of $500,000, and this guy paid 1.3, out of your mind, right? Because I'm going to equate this to one thing that I always say. If you're going, why would you buy a car and save it for the next owner? You go around this world one time, and to have something like that in your garage and not use it is a crime.
Thank
you.
Overpaid. Way overpaid. Lucas knew we were going to love you. So, Mike, throw a number at this one. What do you think it would have hammered for, assuming it failed to sell, which it sounds like you're leaning towards, on P-Car Market just a couple days ago? Throw a number at it. It's a salami toss.
With the provenance, I'm honestly, and people are going to hate me, I'm going to say low sixes, 630.
Okay, it was at 750 when we looked at it. So do something at 750 or above. Where are you at?
753. I don't think anybody should pay more than that for this car, to be perfectly honest with you.
So Mike Musto's attitude reflecting that of Anthony and Buddha. And again, it's not wrong, but the car did do kind of what I expected, which was to get close to what the car probably should be worth, but not to what the owner is looking for. JP, our car did in fact hammer for $1,125,000, where, of course, it failed to sell on 30 bids. JP, if you happen to come to California and buy a lottery ticket, your ship comes in after we drink a lot of champagne and eat a lot of steak, you're welcome to buy this car out of the deal tank for $1.5 million, which is exactly what you and I suspected. He's trying to get his money back, which leads me to our original question. Why would you bring this car back to market so soon with the attempt to get what you paid for it or more? And why would you choose the path of P-Car Market where you would inevitably burn the car by having the hammer tied to the VIN for all of eternity in the internet, because people don't forget, at 1.125, which is probably what the car is actually worth. But he's looking for 1.5. This practically ensures he won't get it. JP, what do you make of this result? I throw it back to you very gently with a, I told you so. Where are you at, JP?
I don't think that anyone lists a car of this caliber on P-Car Market with the intention to actually sell it at auction. We talk about this all the time when we talk about this particular platform. Everyone knows that they are a waste of time because they will accept any car at any reserve, and the car will ultimately wind up in their chum bucket, aka marketplace deal tank. That said, I also don't think that people spending this kind of money on these types of cars, they're not drivers. So I'm with you, Mike. I don't get why anyone would spend that kind of money on something that they're not going to drive. But the answer is so they can have an investment, just like some piece of art or something like that. And that's an absolute shame. We all agree with that. What is interesting, I think that it's just another. I also don't think that P-Car Market, a failure to sell on P-Car Market necessarily means a burn. Like, I don't think this car is burned because no one expects a car to sell on P-Car Market. Everyone is waiting to see what the buy it now price is going to be. So whatever it gets to is just a number that it's like, okay, well, those were the people that just wanted to be on the list to be called back by the people, by the grinders at P-Car Market. It was interesting watching some of the comments and some of the bids. There was a guy named Porsche Guy 75 who said he bid at 1.1 million, and he's like, he even put it in there, I'm out at 1.1 million. Then someone else bid like literally $5,000 more, and he decided to throw another bid for another $20,000. So it's like, what? Why did you even bother? What are you wasting everyone's time for? This is just, what do you think of that result, Mike?
Listen. If you've got the money and it's something that you've always lusted after, and you are using it for an investment, then fine. But I think you also have to be cognizant of where the market is on these cars and what the trends are doing in the market, right? When we first started, we were talking about, is the collector car market going down? And, I look at this stuff and again, dabbling in Porsches the way that I do, I can't see it. But listen, if he's got the money, God bless. I mean, if he's willing, it's like gambling. It's the same thing as gambling, right? You're going to put the money in the collector car market, hoping you make something. Be prepared to lose some of it. Not all of it, but some of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I think cars like this, I don't necessarily think, a lot of times we see the blue chip cars do well almost no matter whatever's going on in the market. Even if something terrible in the news is happening, or if the market is crashing, or interest rates, blah, 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 everything that whatever bad thing seems to be talked about, blue chip cars tend to do well. This car on paper seems like it should be a blue chip car. It's a rare Porsche. It's got no miles. It's super collectible. But I feel like the Flachbau, however you pronounce that, is just not part of the zeitgeist in the 964 way. If it were a previous generation, I do. I think it's just it's just not something on anyone's radar. If you had a G-body Flachbau or slant nose, everyone knows what that is. That is synonymous with 80s, right? This car, I don't remember ever seeing one. I never had one on the wall. What do you think of that, Mike?
No.
I mean, which Mike you talking about? You talking about me?
Oh, sorry,
you're Mike. I'll be Deeb for the rest of the night. So
fine, I got you. Okay. I mean, like you said, I mean, I'm thinking of a slant nose from the 80s, right? That's what I'm thinking of. And I think anything that came after that is just an imitator of the original. So that car, for me personally, it just doesn't do anything. It almost looks like a Gambala or something like that, like a kit that was thrown on top of it. So I agree with you. I just don't think it's on the radar of a lot of people. Regardless of how rare it is, it's just not that visually appealing.
And you need a lot of people in the room in order to get a high bid result. All right, guys, what do you think of the result of that? Deeb, you wanted to hop in? I'll give you the last word.
Anthony got a great comment, JP, in the comments, and he says he needs to get liquid. He says 100% there's a lease on this, and he needs to get the money out before 2026. Anthony, great take. That was really funny. All right, JP, let's move on to the next one when you're ready.
All right. Are there dark days ahead in the classic and collectible car market? We're looking at results from the last episode before we get to new predictions. What's the next car on the list, Deeb?
All right, JP, we're going to circle right back to the 1990 Toyota Celica All-Trac Turbo that we found listed on Bring a Trailer out of Rocky River, Ohio. Our car is showing a whopping 125,000 miles. And this little rally homologation special, JP, was a car I always kind of kept a distant eye on and thought was particularly cool, especially as the racing version of this car that was the Toyota factory team with the Castrol livery was such a hot car back in the day. JP, this car looked to be very clean despite the odometer. And I don't think in this particular instance that the 17-inch Motegi racing wheels were necessarily going to hurt its value. That being said, JP, the mileage is high, and really the same reason the flat nose version of the Turbo S of a 964 isn't on anybody's radar. I kind of think even some of the highest Japanese fan people don't realize how special the All-Trac Turbo was to the Celica line. JP, our friends at Classic.com tell us that the average selling price of a Celica All-Trac Turbo is actually $27,000 in the secondary market. This car being kind of a boring red and having high mileage, I thought would be lucky if it got to $18,000. JP, I turned out to be the high man. You were way underneath me at $13,000. Anthony, just $12,000. And Buddha, who drives a red Toyota sports car, for God's sake, lowest man on the totem pole at just $11,500. So Mike Musto, this thing is not a muscle car, but outside of our shores, this car actually had a bit of a cult following. On our shores, it has never taken off as a collectible, but I know you know when I'm saying this car is kind of cool, you're picking up what I'm dropping. Mike, what do you think of the All-Trac Turbo? And slap a number on this fine-looking example right here.
So really interesting. When I was in college, I had a friend of mine that had this car, except it was white, All-Trac Turbo, that we used to beat to death in the Northeast in the winters, right? And the cool part about it, and we spent, miles, and I've driven this car, and they're a hoot. They're a ton of fun. One, it's a Toyota, so you know it's going to be, totally reliable. It's really fun, and it is such a cool timepiece. I mean, I look at this with that mileage, and in that condition, the interior that it's in, and I go, yeah, I think it's a $15K car. That's where my money lies.
$15K car. So you're over everybody in the herd, but still under me. And Mike, you're going to have to sit down at the dinner table with us, and we're all sharing a big plate of crow. Our car hammered for $25,599, where, it's sold on 49 bids. So, JP, I think we'll universally agree, very well sold. But the real question is, did the buyer and whoever was fighting with him all the way up to $26,000, did they know something we didn't? And is it entirely possible that this car was well built for all the reasons Musto just talked about right there? JP, your feeling on spending $26,000 on a perfect young timer, but 125,000 mile all-track turbo Toyota. Choice of all your rallying ISIS members in the Middle East. What do you think?
I love Toyotas, and Toyota makes great sports cars. They made the MR2, they made the Supra in the same era. There's lots of great sports cars out there. I hate this sector of car. I get that it's good, and it fills a need for people at that time who wanted something sporty but didn't want to go full sports car. This car, again, it wasn't on a video game, it wasn't in any movies. The Supra got that title. This car sits in the same class as a Ford Probe or a Mitsubishi Eclipse. It's just it's in that world of cars. It is. I mean, I know that this is a better version of it, but at its base, it's a Celica. This is just a Celica. This is a front-wheel drive car. I know that this one's an all-track, blah, 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 but it's still going to be. It's just, who cares about this car? Obviously, someone paid $25,000 for it, and it is a great car, I guess, but for $25,000, I think I'm getting a Mark II Volkswagen or something like that. Mike, you disagree? What do you think?
Yeah, Mike, tell my partner why this is a World Rally homologation.
Wait, hold on a second. Here's the picture right here. What is that, guys? This was in good. What magazine was this? It's coming up. This is Car and Driver or something. Yeah, there probably. It is. Ford Probe GT, Eclipse, Prelude, Integra, MX-6. It's in the same class, guys, right there. It's the magazine. The journalist said so. It must be true. What do you think, Mike?
Man, I look at this car differently, and I think because I have some personal experience with this car. One, I just think they're cool, right? You had the mild fender flares, you had the hood scoop, you had the four-wheel drive, you had the turbocharged engine. When you see it next to a bone stock Celica, it's special, right? It's like seeing an STI next to a base model Impreza. You know what I mean? Right. You look at it and you go, okay, well, that one's got some fun stuff to it. What can it do? Rally stuff aside, it is a special car. It really is. Now, is it $25,000 for a 135,000 mile example car? I don't necessarily agree with that, but what I do agree with is they are now becoming unicorns because there were not that many sold. And if you're a Toyota person and this is something that's in your wheelhouse that you've always lusted after, if you grew up in the 80s and the early 90s, then, $25K in this day and age, not bad. Again, more than I would have spent, but not bad.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. And Dana does too. Dana and the Nerd Herd, thank you, Michael Simcock, for keeping track of the bids this week. Dana hit 24,000. She was by far the closest of any of us. So she's the smartest one in the room. Thank you, Dana, for playing. That was awesome.
If she had bid another grand, she'd have gotten a Yahtzee, which would have earned her, look at this, Yahtzee cozies. That's right. We got cozies for your beer can. So you can drive around drunk in your All-Trac in the snow, like I'm sure Mike did back in the 80s and 90s. Just kidding. No, these are available. By the way, guys, we have new merch available up on the site. And, of course, the link is in the description below. We got dad hats. We got Frato brims. We have a flask. You can drink. Oh, my gosh. We have all the ways to drink. And there, of course, is the Nerd Herd Cozy. But, look, you can't buy a Yahtzee. You can't buy your way into a Yahtzee. You just have to get it right. So anyone who gets a Yahtzee, if you DM us on the Instagram machine, Rochelle, she will actually send you one of these. She said, I'm like, who's going to do that? People get Yahtzees all the time in the Nerd Herd because they're better at this than we are. And she said, I'll do it. I'm like, okay, you're going to be spending all your time like putting these cozies in I don't know if she's willing to do it. All right, guys, let's get to the next car. What do we got?
Oh, Mike, I wish you could appreciate how hilarious it is. JP will die on the hill for a Toyota MR2, but you can't get him to high bid on a Celica All-Trac Turbo.
An MR2 is a sports car. I don't want some grocery getting all-wheel drive crap with a wing stuck on it.
What isn't this amazing? Where this car left such a brutal mark on you?
I know.
Like something happened to you back in the day.
Who hurt
you?
Actually, I do have a Celica story that burned me. I did get burned by a Celica. I worked at a car lot once when I was like 19. I was a really bad salesperson, and some guy came in to look at a Celica, and the sales manager believed in me so much because I had been doing really good. Dumb luck. But he's like, all right, I want you to go down to the Toyota store down the street, because this guy was grinding us. He's like, go down there and go into the actual Toyota store and show this guy that he can't get one for this price. And so we went over to the Toyota store, and of course, the guy bought a Celica from the Toyota store. I'm like, why did you send me down there? I don't even know what you wanted me to do. They didn't give me a commission. They didn't even give me a soda or a cozy cup or nothing. That car dealership is now a Jack in the Box. All right, moving on. Let's get to some real cars. What's the next car? Come on. Nobody wants to.
All right, JP, we're going to circle right back to our Euro specification 1998 Ferrari 550 Maranello with a 6-speed manual transmission. Our car is presented on Bring a Trailer out of Berkeley, California by the fine folks at OTS and Company, Tazio Otis and Derek Tamscott and their partner Robert, bringing this car to market. And this is a car, JP, as I drop names all night, that was also at Cars and Cafe in SF. JP, our Euro car is showing 32,000 kilometers, which is just 20,000 miles from new. Car looks to be in fine condition, although it has come to light that the car at some point has been mostly repainted. There is also a small modification with a Tubi-style exhaust system, but all the original parts are included in the sale. JP, manual gated Ferraris from the Montezemolo era are bringing crazy money. Would a Euro spec car and a car that has had some paint work be the with the pearl clutching chaos in the Ferrari market of the last week? That is the question we endeavored to ask as we took a deep dive on this car. Classic.com tells us that the manual 550 Maranello is on average $170,000 car. Despite this car being Euro and mostly repainted, I thought that the blue and the odometer would keep it around average. My bid for this car, $175,000. JP underneath me at 167, Anthony underneath him at 162, and Buddha again underneath Anthony at just 160. So Mike Musto, I know you're well aware of this car. Nice specification. What do you think this car might have hammered for on Bring a Trailer, based out of coming out of OTS, which has a pretty good reputation for selling this caliber of car?
Man, I'm going to say, I'm going to go a little high just because. Well, you know what? The interior's got some action, and the repaint scares me, but I'm still going to go a little high. I'm going to say 181.
181, and that's probably a good value for the car there in that 170 to 180,000 range. But somehow this car didn't do what we probably all expected it to do. JP, I was as shocked as anybody to see that our car hammered for only $153,500. $550, where it failed to sell on a lowly 20 bids. JP, I don't know if I'm missing something. Mike, we don't do any prep work for the thing. We kind of just sort of wing it cold turkey. Lucas gives us a few notes. There was nothing in the notes moving into this except that it had come to light during the posting with a request for paint meter readings that most of the car had been repainted. That initially hadn't been disclosed. So it might be the fact that wasn't up front that might have scared a few of the potential buyers out of the room. But here we go. That car remains available if you contact the fine folks at OTS and Company. And I've seen the car in person. It is a nice car. It's not flawless, but if you want flawless for this car, you're paying $250 to $300. This is still a great driver quality car. JP, any thoughts on this failure to sell? What do you think of the assets and everything else?
Well, can you correct me if I'm wrong, but all the 550s were manual, were they not? This is not a car that could be gotten with F1.
No, I think they had the F1, the first stage of the F1.
I do think they had, but most of them were manual. And then when you go to the 575, most of them were F1.
I know the next gen.
A few of them were 6-speeds, and the 6-speeds of the 575 are astronomical.
Yeah, and everyone's spending the money to swap them out, which makes sense. Right. I mean, this car is achingly beautiful, and it's got to be just great to drive with that, with the 3 pedals. I'm wondering if, like the Flachbau, that this car is just a little under the radar, and with a week like last week, with a lot of bad news and a lot of bad juju, people were kind of like paying attention to other things online, doom scrolling as it were. And I just wonder if this car, again, it's not as under the radar as the Flachbau, but this, front engine V12s are just not something that's super hot. Ferraris with gated transmissions are definitely getting a lot more attention than the other versions, but I don't know, this car just feels like it fits in I think I would be worried that people would be scrolling through the listings and see this and just assume that it's an F1 transmission because everyone's kind of used to maybe people confuse this with the later car that everyone knows is just kind of slushy. Mike, what do you think?
I mean, I look at it where, like, if I was a buyer for this, I would note the repaint, right? That's one. I want to know why that happened, right? The interior's got some wear and tear on it. It's been driven. It's got 20+ thousand miles on it. If you were to go in and buy this car at $150,000, $160,000, front engine, V12, gated shifter, you know what I mean? It's one of the best Grand Touring cars Ferrari has ever made. If you're going to spend that type of money, even if you're going to spend $160,000 or $170,000 on it, this is one that you don't cherish. This is one you take out and you drive and you keep and you just enjoy, because it's not perfect. It's been repainted. The interior's got some hash on it. It's got some miles on it. Like, this is the Ferrari you just buy and you enjoy. And because it is what it is, and I think you're right, I think they are under the radar, this is a car that I think is going to keep going up in value, because the other ones that are in perfect condition are just going to keep rising and rising. And this car, in 5 years, I think people are going to turn around and be like, Jesus, that was a bargain at $160,000 or whatever it ends up selling for. You know what I mean?
Right. That's good. Good take.
All
right.
Well, take. Lucas backs me up and says all the 550s were manual. So I'll take the bid turn. I'll take his word for it and say, what do you guys think of the results of this car? Are brighter days ahead for the 550 because it's only a 6-speed? Let us know what you think in the comments, and we got a couple more cars to cover before we get to new predictions. What do we got?
All right, Mike Musto, you might want to pay attention to this one. We took a look on cars and bids, and we found a very interesting early 996. Feast your eyes on this 1999 911 Carrera, essentially a C2 coupe, but with the factory aero kit and a beautiful colorway when you look at the Arctic Silver over the Boxster red leather interior. This car also has the fancy wheels and the MO30 sports suspension. It has, back in 2016, an IMS bearing and only 6,000 miles on the odometer since the bearing. And the car is showing just 42,700 miles on its clean Colorado title out of Loveland, Colorado. JP, I know you're pretty bearish on these early cars, and for a very good argument, as the teething and all that sort of thing needed to take place before the 996 became, in all the other symptoms, relatively reliable car, less the IMS bearing. But I just thought this car in this colorway with this equipment and that odometer, is going to show that 996s, as one of our earlier guests predicted, are kind of on the come up. And if you are not at all worried about the performance, sort of handicap that this early car has, I think this is a lot of car for the money. And I really thought that this car had a chance to ring the bell at 50 grand, which is why I wanted to bring it. That's kind of a way to needle my partner and be like, look, dot ones are $50,000 cars, just so he can start talking and cursing everybody for spending way too much money on the inferior vehicle. Our friends at classic.com agree with JP, and they say that a 996 with a manual transmission is only a $28,000 conversation. But again, I was standing on 50 grand, and thus that was my bid. JP took the under at $45,996. Anthony was a little bit over. He owns a 40-year anniversary car, so maybe he's a teeny bit biased on this one. His bid, 47 grand. And Buddha, who also owns a 996 C4S with a factory aero kit, turned out to be, again, our most bearish bidder of the night at just $42,000. So a word vomit of data coming your way, Mike Musto, but this is a pretty car. It's well equipped. JP is probably still right that it's probably not the most reliable 996 of all time. But what do you think this gorgeous car could have hammered for on Doug DeMiro's Cars and Bid platform? Where are you at on this one?
So I'm a huge 996 fan. I had a 996. I had a C4S, which I absolutely adored. I'm looking for another one right now. The early gen cars are the purest form of the 996. They've got 300 horsepower. They're great in manuals. They handle really great. They're totally analog. They're wonderful, wonderful cars. Because of it's an aero kit car, because of the interior, it has the sport seats on it, and it's relatively low mileage. That definitely elevates it, but still a first-gen 996. I'm going to look at this, and my gut is saying this is a $36,000 car.
Whoa, super bearish. All right, Mike, I just hope that the next 996 you're looking for is not going to be restricted by a $36,000 budget, because they are doing better than we all think. Even JP will have to eat a teeny bit of crow on this one. Again, my bid, 50 grand. I just want to presence that before I reveal the result. Our car hammering for $48,000, where it's sold on 37 bids. I did not get the win because Anthony Vieira is actually a teeny bit closer at $47,000. I'm technically over. But JP, did you have to take this one sitting down? Were you surprised at all that the car I predicted would hit 50 did in fact hit 48, meaning he spent 50 on it? I'm sort of half right?
I mean, I'm only a few grand off myself. I do agree that the Aero Kit cars are kind of coming up from a value point of view. I just don't think they're worth it. I don't know what happened. When did Cars and Bids become the platform to buy weird, overpriced Porsches? Here is a Cayenne that we somehow missed a couple of weeks ago. Everyone is buzzing about this thing. This is a second-gen Porsche Cayenne, a base model, equipped with the unicorn-like 6-speed. Mike, did you see this car on Cars and Bids last week?
No, I didn't, but it is a unicorn.
Give him,
60,000 miles. Yeah, what do you think this thing closed for?
Oh, man.
Take a stab. Just a stab.
Yeah. And go way higher. Whatever number you're thinking of, add 20 grand to the number you're thinking of, and then
come on.
At 20 grand, honestly, I'm really hoping this didn't sell for over 40 grand.
With 65,000 miles. Imagine that. Is that six figures off? Almost. This thing sold for $125,000, guys.
On Doug DeMiro's site.
$125,000.
What?
This car is the talk of the town, is the belle of the ball.
God.
Doug DeMiro is jumping around. I'm sure he has Garanimals that match this color. It's just, who's laundering money? What is going on?
Where did common sense go? What the hell is going on?
Isn't it?
Jesus.
I mean, Porsche doesn't make anything like that anymore. And honestly, I would rather, and I'll say it right here, if I was forced to spend $125,000 on a Porsche SUV, and this is coming from someone who currently owns two Porsche SUVs, I would rather spend $125,000 on this thing than I would being forced to buy anything that I could buy for $125,000 on a Porsche lot. I don't want your stupid Macan or Cayenne or anything because they don't have 3 pedals. This is better. What do you think?
Did they ever make the GTS in a manual? That's something I'm not sure.
In the first gen, yes, and they're magnificent, but not in this generation. That's a 6-figure truck in my opinion. Yeah, that is a 6-figure truck in my opinion. This with a 6-figure driving experience, absolutely.
It is, but amazing. This one, it's got. I mean, in my opinion, this is the worst looking Cayenne they ever made. I can't stand the taillights. The front end is very just kind of muted. It's just. It's okay. I just don't. I think in the genre of Cayennes, this is not the most attractive one, and to pay 6 figures for essentially what is a base model.
Better looking, or worse looking than the first gen 996.
Oh, worse looking.
Worse looking. Whoa! Said it here. That's a mic drop right there. I did not mean that pun. All right, what do you guys think? Is the second gen Cayenne worse looking than the fried egg 996? Let us know what you think. Aero kit, schmero kit. Aero kits look terrible on 996s on those first gen ones. Just tacos and plastic stuff stuck to it. It is the worst sensibilities. The interior so bad. Hey,
I like them.
I think this car is prettier than my 996 Turbo by a mile. And at 48 grand,
see, no, hold on, no. You're just saying that so you have an excuse to drop the fact that you have a 996 Turbo. I'm going to start calling you Bet with AJ. Do you have a McLaren? Absolutely. Do you have a Lamborghini? You going to tell us what other cool stuff you have? What kind of watch do you have? All right. Well, JP, we're going to go on to some other predictions while Michael Deeb figures out what else he can brag about on the show. What's the next? We still have one more car on the list. We're moving on. What do you got?
You're going to have to finish the show for me, JP. I blew out my back picking up all those names I dropped. All right, one last car. Mike Musto, this car is for you. It's a Hemming special. Feast your eyes on this 1975 AMC Pacer with a 3-speed manual.
Talk about ugly cars.
Mike, somebody went out and effing restored this thing. There are pictures of this car in paint, which is hilarious. Out of Nescos.
Deeb, let's get to the numbers. Let's get to the numbers. We got to move on.
Nesconsett, New York, with 26,000 miles. JP, our friends at Classic.com tell us that an AMC Pacer, despite it with ever transmission, is $21,000. I thought the car would hit 18. JP said 16. Anthony said 21. And Buddha said 18. So, Mike Musto, what do you think this car would have brought when it hammered on, what was it, BAT?
I mean, it's a Gremlin X, it looks like. So it's a Pacer X, so it's got a little more action going to it. It's got the right wheels. My mind, listen, it's still a Pacer. I mean, 14 to 15 grand, I hope.
Yeah, 14.5 is your bid, and you're in
14.
That's okay.
14.5.
Yeah, 14. All right, JP, our car hammered at $16,000. Give yourself a cozy. You got yourself a Yahtzee, but our car failed to sell on 30 bids. Obviously, with 21's the average, I'm thinking this guy's looking for 30, and he barely got half of what he thinks the car is worth. Mike Musto, should he have taken the money?
Yeah, and run like a son of a bitch. I mean, how many people out there? How many people out there are being like, I can't wait to go buy a Pacer? There's 4. If that, like, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, and the high bidder.
It's a beautiful car. It's a wonderful restoration, and I know how much it takes to restore a car. But again, you could.
Yeah, the high bidder. You got to be drunk to want this thing. And the high bidder noted in the comments, he's like, "I am drinking in a bar in Cannes in France."
Oh, that was funny.
And I've lost all control. This is what he actually said, and he still lost the car. It's like I would have paid to ship this car to Francis for that guy just for the comment. What do you guys think of the results of the Pacers? Should they have taken the money? Why the hell didn't they? Let us know in the comments. And we will be right back. See ya. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair. And we're back. All right, everyone. We are here. We're going to make some predictions. Want to shout out to everyone in the Nerd Herd watching us live tonight. Thanks for hanging out. Burnt Oil is pointing out that I got a Yahtzee. I get to keep the cozy. I don't know where I put it. I was going to wave it around somewhere, but I don't know where it went. Oh, My drink. I put my drink in the Yahtzee can, right? See? Look at that. Look how good that looks, guys. You need one of these.
Lots
you
of
get a Yahtzee, you can have one. All right. Enough plugging our stuff. Everybody hit the thumbs up and like button. We've got Mike Musto here. We're going to make some real predictions here. Let's really get to it. Who can get a Yahtzee this week? What's the first car on the list? Michael Deeb.
All right, JP, we're going to start off with a 1970 Ford Mustang Boss 429 so that we can pander to our guests. Mike Musto from Hemmings, who is joining us as third nerd. This is a premium listing and an alumni listing on Bring a Trailer. Our car having previously been listed on Bring a Trailer back in May of 2019. Chris Carbine, please stop texting us during the show. Thank you. And then again, the car was purchased by its current owner on Bring a Trailer back in March of 2022. Mike, we know that you love yourself some American V8, and I have always been fascinated with the NASCAR motor that is the V8 inside of the Boss 429. For one of the, there's this cool thing about the Japanese cars in the 90s where they all were quoted as having 276 horsepower so that they wouldn't get taxed by some crazy insurance thing. And it, as I understand it, and I'm not a muscle car guy. I was born in the city and my dad drove Peugeots and Mercedes and BMWs and everybody thought he was weird. But it's always been that this car was rated at like 375 horsepower, but the whisper is that this car always made over 500 horsepower. And so I just thought that this car with a 4-speed transmission, this car having very good provenance, having been on Bring a Trailer a couple different times, has a Marty report, looks to be in excellent condition. If these cars really do make 500 horsepower and don't they have like oval pistons or hemispherical pistons or something crazy, it's a really neat car. Why aren't these cars $500,000 or more? If this car goes for $300,000 or $400,000, I think it's a steal, and I'd love to see more of them on the road, and that's just not going to happen. But I've always been a fan of this car because it's like they hid its true potential so that they could sell it without getting in trouble with Ralph Nader and all these other monster Nazis back in the day. So, Mike Musto, we'll jump to JP or we'll just skip him and go right to you. I just think this is one of the coolest muscle cars. And one of the great V8s that doesn't get nearly enough notoriety. Do you agree with my sentiment? Tell us what we should know about the Boss 429 with the big 429 cubic inch V8 that essentially came out of a NASCAR. Where you at?
Yeah, so I mean, you know, when I look at this, price-wise, man, I would love to see something like this in that condition sell for about.
We're not ready for a number yet. We'll give you the last word on the number. You know, yeah, just what do you say? Tell us about the car.
No, they're great cars. These are great cars. I mean, this was Ford's, ultimate Mustang. The Boss 429. This was a hammer of an automobile. This was the car that if it came up to you next to a light and you were in a Hemi Cuda, you kind of went, "Oh shit, this is probably a terrible idea to run this guy." You know what I mean? It's because it was. I mean, they were stout. They're good cars and they're fast, and you can beat them to death, and they don't break. They're really, really sturdy pieces. I would love to see them come up in the market because they're just good cars. I mean, they're great driving cars. They're fun. They look spectacular. And, while they are great looking cars, Ford had a wonderful part of, when they did the styling, it's kind of a little stealthy, right? It wasn't like the Dodge Daytonas with the big wing or the Superbirds or, even though that's a beautiful blue, it wasn't the outlandish, like sublime green or whatever the other case. This is kind of muted. It's kind of like for that businessman that wanted something that was he could drive to work but a little understated, but nobody really knew what he had. And that's what kind of a Boss 29 represents to me. I think they're wonderful cars.
Yeah. Very cool.
Right,
JP,
what's
any
gonna
thoughts?
Bring? Well, yeah, I mean, just quickly, just looking at this thing, it's understated. Look at that color. This is a very modern blue. You see a lot of hypercars and sports cars. Like, Porsche has 15 versions of this color.
It looks like Riviera blue
or Mexican blue or
like Bertha.
Blue,
not Bertha.
So many blues.
What's Solomon's cars called? Helga. It's like Helga blue.
Yes, that one's Mexico. But anyways, what's it gonna bring?
All right, JP, according to our friends at Classic.com, the Boss 429 is on average a $329,000 car. When I look at the quality and the condition of the car on these pages, I think it looks like it's a top quality car. We go back to May of 2019 when this car first ran, and at that time, JP, our car hammered for just $190,000. Again, this is pre-COVID, and it failed to sell at that number. Also, we did not have a mass adoption for people trusting the process of buying a car sight unseen pre-COVID. And so that result, I think, is a bit of an outlier. The car came back to market, JP, in March of 2022. And again, it looks to be in excellent restored condition and was accompanied by a Marty report. At that time, JP, the money was flying. Our car sold for $329,500, right on Classic.com's average. The car comes back to market, JP. It has 5 days to go until it closes. And before you start hitting me with the numbers, I know that this car is going to close after the next show. We will reconcile this car a week from today because it's not going to close until next Monday. But I really wanted to pick this car to go over it with Mike Musto because I figured he would know a little bit something about it. Our car is currently sitting at $220,000, and again, it does have a long way to go. And I think it's kind of going to get there. It's already on 12 bids, and with 5 days to go, I think it's going to get back up into that range. So it was at $329,000 last time. I think it's going to do that again. I'm going to go $329,000 even and say that this guy gets his money out of it before JP tells me how much money he lost due to inflation. But at least it's going to hammer for the same number and make him feel good. And I think for the large part, he'll get out of this car. And this car should retail because it's a top sort of a top condition version of the car with good provenance that we've been able to view on Bring a Trailer here over the last 6-7 years. So JP, 329 is the average. It's at 220, but it's got a ways to go. 329 is my bid to you. You're going to go over or under my number.
I am at a disadvantage, don't know muscle cars very well, and I do know that a lot of these 60s and 70s muscle type cars are hurting. I don't think the future is very bright for cars of this era. Most of these cars are wanted by boomers and folks who are not really collecting anymore, and a lot of these cars are falling into the hands of the children of boomers who really don't want these cars anymore. The market is getting smaller and smaller and smaller for stuff like this. The really young timer cars from the 80s and 90s are what's driving the market. That said, I realize that this one is special, and that does mean that there will be more people in the room bidding for it. But like I said, disadvantage. I'm just going to lean to the bear side just because I think muscle cars don't have a big future. I am going to say that it doesn't even break the 300. I'll go $294,290. So basically make it a six figures, but starting with 294,290, however many zeros. Mike, what do you think?
So I'm going to disagree with the big future on the muscle cars, right? Because you have to look at the muscle cars for what they are. Now, a stock muscle car like this one, which is a bone stock nut by nut restoration, at least that's what it looks like. Is it a blue chip car? Yes. However, I think what you're going to see is a resurgence in the market where people are going to resto mod, right? Because what do people want? If you're a Gen X, I want my air conditioning, I want my power windows, I want a car that's going to work, not one that's going to vapor lock in traffic and not one that I can't drive, right? I don't want 410 gears. I want to cruise at 90 miles an hour on the highway, and I want to be able to enjoy it. This car, you can't really do that with it. That said, the car is a beautiful, beautiful piece, and a Boss 429 will always be worth a decent amount of money. I'm gonna go on the lower side. I'm gonna say this thing hammers at like 301.
Okay, so we're not that far off.
There we go.
No, we're not that far off. Right, it's just gonna crest 3.
Yeah, I think it's interesting what you said there, that that there's some kind of hybrid in between muscle cars and people aren't going to want the original muscle cars so much. And the problem is that so many of them have been modified and resto modded for boomer sensibilities. So they'll have big, huge chrome 19-inch wheels or, terrible stripes and stuff like that. But I think you're right that there is an emerging market that's pushing back because a lot of the it should be Zoomers that are really driving the market, the millennials and some Zoomers, but a lot of Zoomers just aren't going to ever have money because they still have student loans, and they don't have any cars that they're nostalgic for. So the Zoomers that are looking for call it classic and collectible cars are actually looking further back than what typically drives the market, which is guys in their 40s and 50s looking for what they wanted when they were in high school. Go ahead.
Well, think about it like this. If that car, the way you see it right now, if that had a Coyote engine in it, a brand new, 6-speed manual, a decent set of wheels, some brakes, and you tried to build it, you had some other aftermarket company build it, you're talking $350,000 to $400,000. Right? That's what that car is worth. But your drivability is there. Now, I've got both. I own a classic big block carb, but I also have another car that's got a brand new supercharged Hemi in it. So the fact of the matter is, there is that happy medium, and I think that all muscle cars have a place in that happy medium. I think, like I said, this one, I think, because of it's so nice, nobody's going to want to modify it. Somebody's going to buy it in the collection. And I hate to say this, but I think after the sale that's going to happen, the value's probably going to come down on it. Yep. And that hurts to say.
Yeah, and we've seen some results on auctions on other listings like Deeb. There was that Trans Am. I want to say it was a full bird Trans Am that looked like the one from the movie Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah. But it had 6-speed LS3 or LS6. Yeah. And it was it broke. I mean, we all thought maybe 100, 120, and it wound up breaking 300. So it was like there's absolutely
no brainer.
Absolutely support for your theory. So, all right, dark days ahead for stock classic muscle cars, but is there a bright future for muscle cars that have been modded in a way that you can actually drive in today's traffic? Let us know what you think, and let us know, and we will get to the next car. What do we got, Deeb? We gotta move it along.
Speed up. Yeah. All right, JP. So we're gonna take a quick look at a 2022 Ferrari F8 Tributo. This is kind of a one-off car. I mean, it was built on the 488 chassis, but it was like a softer version of the Pista. JP, our car had a sticker price of $279,000, and then it had $117,000 in options over that, including $25,000 for a set of carbon fiber wheels. John, our car is on Cars and Bids. It's on a clean Maryland title and is showing only 1,600 miles from new. The total retail price on the MSRP for this car was $386,000. John, this car closes tomorrow. It's currently sitting at essentially $311,000 on 8 bids. JP, these cars essentially bring sticker when they're equipped like this and when they have an odometer like this. I think this car will get back into that range, but come up just a teeny bit short because it's Cars and Bids and not BAT. So, John, from 386, the average selling price with, Classic.com is 341, but this is a higher MSRP. So from 386, JP, I think our car comes really close to that. I think it will hammer for $378,000. And if it does hammer at my number, it's selling. So it's at $311,000 now. I think it goes to $378,000 tomorrow. What's your number on an F8 Tributo that's high spec and low odometer on Doug DeMiro's site?
Man, it's so hard to even care on this car. I mean, it's neat, it's beautiful, blah blah blah. It's a Ferrari, but look, the type of person that wants this thing is the type of person that asks in the comments under this car's listing, does it come with Apple CarPlay? All right, we're not looking at a minivan or whatever. I mean, just like I'm over. I don't know, 350. What do you think? What do you think?
That's Mike? A good bid, JP. You might get a Yahtzee.
JP, honestly, I'm kind of right there with you. When I look at this car, all I think of is Monterey Car Week last month, where everybody was just bouncing it off the rev limiter and driving me insane and me yelling, "Shut the hell up!" Right.
Get off our lawn.
I'll throw in a 350 hammer price on this car. The problem is, Ferrari kind of lost its, in my opinion, its way. Every Ferrari looks like every other Ferrari. I can't tell them apart anymore. And that was the biggest thing with the brand. They used to be, you'd be like, that's a this or that's a that, and it meant something. Now they're coming out with a new car every 6 months, and everybody's like, Ferrari to me has just lost the panache. It really has.
Totally. I agree.
350, sure.
Give it. So JP's at 350. So either go over or under his number, please, Mike.
I'm gonna go one. I'm gonna go 351. There you go. That's my bid.
All right, cool.
Good bid. You know what? I had to squint when I saw this listing at first when it was on our. I thought it was the Lotus Emira. I mean, I literally can't tell the difference.
Well, that's just right.
Yeah, right? And a Lotus Emira is a beautiful car, but a third of the price, and it looks exactly the same. All right, what do you guys think of the Ferrari? Let us know in the comments. Oh, you're going to say something else? I'll give you the last word, Deep.
No, next car, JP. Let's go.
Let's
right to the
on.
BMW.
Yeah.
All right, right now on Bring a Trailer, running no reserve, is this 2013 BMW M3 Coupe that is equipped with the competition package, better wheels, better suspension, lightweight roof, and a 6-speed manual transmission. Our car benefits from a very low odometer at just 37,000 miles from new. The car is up there in North Salem, New York, with our good friends at 1600 Veloce. But JP, it is disclosed in the Carfax report that this car had a previous accident, and upon closer inspection, you can see that some of the front end of the car doesn't match the rest of the car because those of us who know, silver is without a doubt the most difficult color to match paint, because even if you get the flake right, you might not apply it in the same direction as all the rest of the panels, so light will reflect differently off almost any resprayed panel that wasn't original on a silver car. Does this car wear a scarlet leather forever is probably the case here. Our friends at Classic.com tell us that the average selling price of an M3 with the competition package is up there around $49,000. Good seller, nice presentation, running no reserve, and a low odometer. I think this car will do well, but I think there will be a price paid for the accident on the Carfax and the fact that a silver car has been repainted here. So instead of going over $49,000, which I think this car should have if it was a virgin, I think this car is going to hammer for a little less. John, our car is currently sitting at $29,999. That comes to us by way of 10 bids, and it closes tomorrow. JP, I think there's $13,000 there for it if it wants it, and it will sell at my number because it's running no reserve. $43,000 to you, JP. We know you really like this car. What do you think this one's going to hammer for?
Well, it's interesting. We did cover one of these sort of a couple of weeks ago, but we forgot to reconcile it because it wasn't on. It was like the wrong day. Here
we do that all the time.
Yeah, we do this all the time. Here is that What was this one? This was the. What do you call this one?
Lime Rock.
The Lime Rock.
Lime Rock with low miles.
Yeah. What do you with low miles? What do you think this one went for, Mike? Just give me a quick number, real quick.
That's probably, I don't know, 52, 53.
Yeah, Deeb, do you remember what our numbers were on these?
Yeah, so JP, I was at 98. Again, ridiculously low odometer, like 8,000 miles or something. JP was at and JP was at 95, and Bernard from Miami was at 99.9, and then John, the car hammered for $122,513, and it failed to sell on 20 bids. He should have taken the money.
Yeah. That's just absurd. I mean, I get that the Lime Rock one is a special one, but I mean, you could get this car. I think this car, I don't think it's going to break $40,000. I'm going to give it $39,003 to give it the M3 little nod there. I do want to note something before I get Mike's number, and I think this is one of the most interesting things I've seen any seller do, and maybe other sellers have done this, but I've never noticed it. 1600 Veloce is the seller, and they offered in the comments, they said, hey, we're offering appointments for live walkarounds. That is, if you're interested in the car, you can reach out to them and they will make an appointment and they'll walk around the car with a camera and you can ask them to inspect whatever you want. I think that is brilliant, and I think that more sellers should do that, and I'm sure
Bidners
that we
does
will.
That.
Yeah.
Bidners does that. We do that all the time.
We do it all the time because Bidners, by the way, if you want to, they stole it from us. Mike, the Bid Nerds offer a happy ending for every auction. What do you think of that service, and what do you think this little M3 will bring?
I think the service is great. I think if you're going to spend a decent amount of money on any car, you should see it in person. It's quite, I mean, I bought cars all over the country. I will get my ass on a plane and go inspect them personally. And I have backed out of cars that looked amazing because when you see them in person, you go, oh, this is a mess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to do it. Spend your grand on an airfare and go check it out. You're in for something if the car turns out wrong.
And be prepared to walk away and get an airplane ticket back. Yeah.
Great advice.
Yeah. What's this car going to bring? So we can do one more prediction real quick.
36.2.
36.2. Good number. All right. Let's move on really quick. We'll throw this other one on the list just so we can reconcile it next week. What's the next car, Deeb?
All right, JP, right now there is another cool car from that era, 2002 BMW, 2002 Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG. This is the early car with a naturally aspirated 350 horsepower, 390 pound-foot of torque from a 5.5-liter AMG hand-built V8. This car is running no reserve and, again, has a pretty reasonable odometer at just 62,000 miles from new. The car is located in Irwindale, California. And again, it had a V8, and I was pandering to Mike. But the real reason I chose this car, and Lucas pointed out as soon as he saw the images, is this is, without a doubt, JP, the worst assets I have ever seen on a listing for what is arguably a nice car, certainly a premium kind of like European special AMG, whatever. This car was shot in the shadows. The photos were taken like with the doors open. I mean, JP, I have never seen a worse listing. Our car is currently sitting at $15,000 and it closes tomorrow. Classic.com tells us that these cars don't hold their value well. They only typically bring $19,000. This would probably have been a $30,000 to $35,000 car with good assets. But JP, my number, because of the poor listing, is only $25,500, and it'll be a steal for whoever picks it up for that number because it's running no reserve. So $25,500 to the herd. You heard it here first. Go grab this car for that number. You'll have 10 grand in equity. JP and I will take ours when you sell it later. JP, what's your number on the E55 with the shittiest assets ever?
These are really bad, but they're not as bad as Guy in the Reflection eating a McDonald's sandwich. I don't know if it breaks 20 grand. I'll give it 19,955 and hand it to Mike. What do you think?
Honestly, listen. These are actually really good driving cars. They're fantastic, right? And it's low miles. It's 64,000 miles. That's a low mileage car. Okay.
Totally.
You could put another 250 to literally 250,000 miles on this car with proper service. I'm going to say, because of where the bid's at now, this is 28K. That's what.
Wow, you think it gets that high? Okay, good, right on.
And still a good buy at your number, right, Mike?
Great buy, great. Yeah. I mean, think about what is out there for $28,000. You're getting one of the best super sedans from that era, and it's a low mileage car. And if it wasn't in any accidents,
you'd spend $28,000. You could get a Celica All-Trac for that. What are you, crazy?
Come on.
Here we go.
All right. On that note, Mike, thanks for hanging out with the Bid Nerds. Where can we find you and all your things?
So if you go to Instagram, I'm just Mike_Musto, M-U-S-T-O on Instagram. But you can find all my video stuff at Hemmings.com and the Hemmings YouTube channel. That's where we produce a whole bunch of shows.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Go ahead, Deeb.
Quick PSA to the Nerd Herd. We are looking for a 996 C4S with a manual and white paint. If you or anybody you know might have heard of a car like that, reach out to us, and we'll pay you a $500 finder's fee. Thank you.
We will?